What's going on, guys and girls? Welcome back to another episode in your Perseverance Under Pressure podcast. Episode 22 today. We're going to talk about it. No one likes it. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is probably one of the hardest things that you can allow yourself to learn how to give. And I say that because it's much easier. And forgiveness goes kind of hand in hand with surrender. Okay? Which we've talked about in another episode. But allowing yourself to offer forgiveness for somebody else's actions, for somebody else's behaviors, for things that people may have done to you, right? Which is another mindset shift, right? Are people doing things to you, or are things happening for you? So you can see as we've gone through this series that everything is so interconnected, and it's a beautiful interwoven tapestry of feelings and emotions, and then the mindset that we hold towards them. But forgiveness in and of itself is not for the other person. I know you've probably heard this before. It is for your own peace, your own clarity, your own surrender. When you forgive somebody for the things that they have done to you, for you, whatever you want to look at it from, you're allowing yourself to let go of the attachment to the anger or the frustration or the hurt or the pain, whatever it is, the hatred. So when you offer forgiveness, it's not for them. It's for you. Forgiveness for you. Being able to allow yourself to detach from those emotions and feelings that have been pulling you down, that have been manipulating your mind. So I'm going to share real quick, as always, the wonderful stories in the vault of my mind. So one of the things that I had to learn was in one of my relationships, after the one where I was cheated on. I was dating a woman. We're still friends to this day. We still have love for each other, and I believe want nothing but the best for each other. But it was an interesting thing because towards the end of our relationship, I felt a certain way in the relationship based on my perspective of our interactions, her thoughts, her behaviors, her mindset, and I did end up stepping out of the relationship a few times. And with that, there came a ton of guilt, of hurt, of resentment for myself, judgment. Why am I weak? And then came all of the justifications. Well, I feel this way because she does this, or my take on is she's selfish and she doesn't care that I'm in pain. And so just to kind of reiterate the reasoning why, at least from hindsight, a big piece of it was I was ending my professional wrestling persona. My time in the ring was pretty much at an end. I want to say 2013, 14. And I had torn my knee wrestling in 2013, early 2013. And I had torn my knee, and I was in pain. And I was frustrated because my wrestling now was put on hold. There were some more serious type of injuries that I was accumulating. I messed up my neck, had really bad cervical compression. Then I tore my knee 2 months later in a ladder match. And so I was watching in real time the dream of making it, getting contracted. I was watching that come to an end, die. It was dying for me. And I had played this persona for so long that I was fearful of, who am I without this? I'm Christian Frost. I'm a professional wrestler. This was the dream. This was my goal. This is what I've spent my entire late teens and early 20s, mid 20s pursuing. And it felt to me like the end of the world. And then it felt to her, I don't know. I don't know how it felt to her because I'm not her. But my perception was it didn't really mean that much to her, like it meant to me, right? It's like somebody else's dream is their dream, and you can kind of watch it and be like, cool, that's cool. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But it was a really big mind fuck for me, trying to figure out, what does this look like? Where am I going? What does my life look like? I've dedicated 12 years to this. This was the chapter, the journey. This was it. And so now I've got a messed up neck. I've got a torn knee. And in our relationship, we also had this business together. We were building a networking organization for health and wellness professionals, and it felt like I was kind of working for her. I was working for my girlfriend. It was a very hard thing to take business and personal and separate them because we were also living together. So anytime that we were attempting to have sexy time, right, or be intimate, I was in pain. I had torn my knee. I was frustrated with the way my life was going. I was frustrated with not having any clear indication of, am I going to still wrestle? Is this still in my cards? Do I have to let this go? What do I do if I don't have this passion? And then when we would have sex, it was, again, from my perspective, it felt selfish because it was something where there were certain positions that she didn't want to do and positions that she wanted, and the ones she wanted hurt my knee. And so it wasn't even enjoyable at some point for me to be intimate with her because I was holding resentment. I was angry. It was something that it became a chore because I was trying to please her, and that was part of the relationship. And then it felt like work because it was like, well, this is what she wants, and it doesn't matter that I'm in pain. And I don't know if I had communicated that back in the day appropriately or at all. Maybe it was one of those things where I just assumed she knew that I had a hurt knee, and she still was wanting this, and this was causing me pain. And so now I'm associating trauma and irritation and anger and frustration with the intimate act with her. And so it messed me up because of all of the other things that I've gone through. It messed me up in thinking about, where's my life going? What's it looking like? It messed me up in the thought process of, does she even care that I'm in pain, or does she just care more about herself and wanting to feel good? And then it just really was a disconnect. Mentally, I think intimately, it became disconnected. It started to feel more like we were roommates, and I had a very hard time with that internally. And so I had connected energies with another woman, and it was something that I was not proud of. It was not me. I didn't want to be this person because I had been cheated on. It had messed me up. And I realized I wasn't as happy as I thought I was going to be, or I was, when we started the relationship. And so towards the end of it, I started to make up lies. I started to tell stories. I would say I'm going to a wrestling show and I'm going to spend the night at a hotel with one of my buddies, and I wouldn't. I would see this other woman. And, oh man, I felt fear. I felt a lot of fear of getting caught. I felt a fear of losing my girlfriend. Even though I'm the one doing it, there was a fear of losing that. But when we talked about the addiction in a previous episode, it was something that I felt I needed. Did I truly need it? No. Does anybody truly need sex from somebody else to feel good? No. It's a nice, enjoyable experience, but you don't need it. There's people that go years and years and years without sex. You don't need it. If you think you need it, you're probably mildly addicted to it, or you're addicted to the feeling that it gives you, but you don't need it, okay? Let me clear that up, because I came to that realization as well. You don't need it. But in that moment, it was something that I felt I needed. I wasn't enjoying it in my relationship, and I wanted it, and I got it, and it was exciting. It was fearful, because what if I got caught? But it was exciting. It was stimulating. It was kind of living on the edge, and it was that addictive high of this feels good. I can be with somebody who it didn't feel selfish. It felt like they wanted to be with me, and not me just having to do something for them. It didn't feel like just transactional. It felt like we were able to dive into this energy, and it was intense, and it was exhilarating, and it was an experience, a learning lesson. And it was one of those things, and there's parts of this that I'm not going to share from her end, because it's her story, and it's her life, and it was her choices and decisions as well. But my perspective of it is what we're sharing. So, forgiveness. I had to go back home to my girlfriend knowing that I was cheating physically, emotionally, energetically with somebody else. And the fascinating part was not the compartmentalization of it, but the reality that you start to really learn is you can have love and truly care about somebody and do things that would cause them pain if they found out, but doing it not to cause them pain, but doing it because you feel like there's something missing inside. It's a hard thing to explain. If you've ever cheated and you've ever understood where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about, it will make sense. But it's kind of like somebody making you a plate for dinner, and it's just missing something. You know, you've got your protein, your carbs, your little bit of fats, but it's like it's the dessert. You're missing the dessert. You have the bread and butter. You have the sustenance. You have the healthy stuff. You have the part that is the main piece of your relationship. But that dessert piece is missing. That pleasure, that sweet tooth, that Whatever it is you think you're craving is what's missing. Now, is it really missing? Or is it just something that you're craving because you want it? And you want it to look the way you want it to look. And that's what we do. When we cheat, it never has anything to do with the other person. It has everything to do with yourself. What is it you feel you're missing? What is it you feel you need or want? Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you get a rush? It's an adrenaline rush. It's more intense. It's more passionate maybe because there's risk to it. And I had to really work on sitting with myself. And I could say at the time, I forgive her, my girlfriend, for being selfish, for not caring that I was in pain, for not thinking of me. Or I could sit with it and say, I forgive myself for the choices that I have made based on the behaviors or the traumas that I was operating from. I can't change what happened. And ironically enough, this was almost 12 years ago, and she had just asked me a random question, had I ever cheated on her? So this tells me something important as well. A, it tells me it's something that energetically she has thought or carried with her for 12 years. Subconsciously, consciously, there was a feeling to ask that question. You had to have an inkling or a feeling or a thought about it. Now, answering that question, I have done so much work on my own self that I will not lie any longer. It's kind of like jealousy has been eliminated from my system. Insecurities, for the most part, eliminated from my system. I choose not to hold those vibrational frequencies. And so when she asked me the question, fear arose, anxiety and worry arose. Where's this coming from? Why are you asking this? Did somebody talk to you? Do you know something? What if I say yes? Will you never want to talk to me again? Am I going to lose my friend? Am I going to lose this person that I care about, this person that I love? But I also knew that in order for her to heal, in order for her to get the answer she was looking for, it's not going to come from a lie. It's going to come from the truth and honesty. And so it took me a moment, and I said, the long story is yes. Towards the end of the relationship, I did cheat. But it had nothing to do with you. And if you want to know more about everything that I've learned throughout that journey and throughout my healing, I would be happy to share with you. In answering that question authentically and honestly and admitting yes, I had to understand the potential consequences of one, her never wanting to speak to me again, her being angry, choosing to hold on to anger, pain, judgment, whatever it is, and her saying, I never want to speak to you again. That is one of the biggest reasons people lie about things, is it's coming from a place of fear. What if I lose this? But that is a part of the consequences of actions. You have to be willing to face the consequences if you're willing to make the choices that you're choosing. And life will catch up to you. It always does. Look at Bill Cosby. Dude had a great run most of his life, superstardom, and ends up in prison at the end of his life because he was a shitty human being on the inside. And his actions caught up to him. So in doing that, I had to forgive myself. And the forgiveness that I had given to myself years ago over this allowed me to free myself of those restrictions, of those pains. But then in the facing of that question, will I be honest or will I lie? Will I make up an excuse? Will I place blame on her? Will I try to justify why I did what I did? Or will I just simply answer the question and take the results that she chooses to take? And I'm not sure. I'm not sure how she has taken it. Overall, we have chatted a little bit. It feels a little different, but I know she is working through her traumas, and I wish her nothing but love and light and healing. And again, I hold no anger, bitterness, judgment over her or myself for the actions that I've chose. I have, however, used those lessons to learn about forgiveness and forgiving yourself, not just others who have hurt you, but forgiving yourself for staying in a situation where you didn't honor your own truth. People who stay in abusive relationships, there's fear, there's scarcity mindset, it's a lot of fear. And then when they leave, or their friends or family have told them that this isn't good, you need to get out, no, I can't, I love him, When you finally do, you not only have to forgive that person, but you have to forgive your version of you that chose to stay. I had to forgive the version of me that chose to step out, that chose to pursue that addictive hit that I was looking for, and then to realize I don't need that. And so now the forgiveness component I try to share with people, because you have to stop empowering other people and giving your power away, saying they did this to you, they made you feel this, they did that. People don't treat you based on who you are. They treat you based on who they are. I treated my ex based on who I was in that version. She treated me based on who she was in that version. I didn't treat her the way I treated her based on who she was. It was based on who I was. And I forgive myself for those mistakes. I forgive myself for that negative experience. I forgive myself while also learning extremely valuable lessons in the process. So, do I regret it? No. Have I regretted anything that I've ever done? Well, we talked about regret in one of our past episodes. No. I may have thought about what if I had made a different choice, but where I am today, in this very moment, this version of myself, to get here, I had to go through everything I went through. And this is the best version, the most peaceful, the most clear and connected to God, to Source, that I've ever been. So, do I feel bad that my choices and actions have caused potentially somebody to perceive it as painful? Absolutely. Do I regret my choices and actions? No. I've forgiven myself for making more poor choices, but those poor choices have taught me very valuable lessons. So now, do I have to make that poor choice again? No. I've learned the lesson. I've made the choice before. I've taken what I need to take from it, and I move on. And I don't make the same choice or mistake again. So I hope that helps you guys think about forgiveness a little bit more. And again, I always just share my stories. It's my life. It's an open book. And yeah, I hope it helps you. So as always, guys, please sub, like, hit that notification bell. And if you want, leave a comment. Please share this with other people. Or just let me know how it helps you in your mindset shift. And I'll see you guys in episode 23.